Okay, so I'm just gonna double down on this. This is gonna come up on 19 plus 8 is 27. I'll give you a week to read it and understand it. The problem with Donald Trump. Why can you not vote for Donald Trump? Okay, you come up with all kinds of lots of reasons. A lot of them are um, pretty shallow when you really look at them. But there is one really good reason. Okay, and it's specifically his austerity push. Okay, the problem is not the debt itself. There is no such thing as debt. There's nobody to pay back. Debt is a measure of the money supply. So when they say there's a $8 trillion debt or whatever it is now, $14 trillion debt. What that means is that there's $14 trillion in the economy. That's all it means. It doesn't mean there's someone to pay $14 trillion back to. And in fact, if you were to pay that $14 trillion back, you'd pay it back to the central bank. When you say there's a $14 trillion debt, it means that there's $14 trillion in the economy. And in fact, the word debt is very unfortunate. They should not use the word debt. The word debt should be removed from this conversation because it confuses people. You should talk about expanding and contracting the money supply. You should state it as it is. Instead of saying there's a $14 trillion debt, you should say that there's $14 trillion in circulation. And it's not even in circulation. A lot of it is just money in a bank account, right? So when Trump stands up and says he's going to renegotiate the debt, the problem isn't that he's short-thrifting anybody, okay? When this came out, it was a very right-wing concept of things. And it was very counterproductive in confusing people about this. There isn't anybody to short-thrift. Because that money doesn't belong to anybody. It doesn't belong to the Chinese. It doesn't belong to investors. It's just money in the economy. And it comes out in bonds, and people can, they can exchange their bonds as much as they want. Nobody's going to tell them they can't exchange their bonds. And they'll just print more. The problem is that he's so clueless about government finance that he actually thinks he has to pay the debt back. Okay? And he believes it. I believe he believes it. Maybe he's tricked me, but I believe that he believes that we actually have to pay the debt back. And that is fucking frightening. I don't think there's ever been a candidate at any point in my lifetime that I know of that actually thinks that we have to pay the debt back. Maybe Reagan thought that. I'm too young to really remember Reagan. I was 7 years old when the first Bush was elected. I don't think that Reagan actually thought that. And if he did, if he did at some point, he was corrected. You can't correct Trump. It doesn't happen. And he legitimately thinks that the debt is something that America has to pay back. That's insane. It's worse. Okay, it's not insane. It's ignorant. And the ignorance is insane. So the fear is not debt from his tax cuts. That doesn't matter because it doesn't exist. The fear is the global economic collapse that will follow from an American push for austerity because he thinks he needs to balance the budget. And that's why you can't vote for him. Because he will stop spending money. He will stop printing dollars. And once that happens, the whole economy collapses. The global economy collapses. Not just the American economy, but the global economy collapses. And then when that happens, somebody else starts printing money. Okay? China starts printing money, Europe starts printing money, and then America loses its hegemonic control. That's what happens when you stop printing dollars. Is people start using other currencies. And what does Trump do? He brings out the guns, right? if he even understands that. That's why you can't vote for him. And that's why you can't vote for anybody who has economic thinking that's like him. The global economy needs massive deficit spending by the United States right now. They need to be printing as much money as they can. They need to be printing billions, trillions of dollars. The debt needs to go up. And to think at this point that you're going to elect somebody that is so clueless that he thinks he needs to pay the debt back, it's madness.